So we can open the meeting. Do you need to make any statements about
Nope.
the hybrid meeting?
Nope, we are audio and video recording and just state the meeting and
Okay.
we're good to go.
So this is a meeting of the Planet Conservation and Development Committee. It's Wednesday, January 11th, 2023. And the meeting is called to order by myself, Frank Manfredi, and we do have a fair amount of people between the Zoom people and those of us here. So I think we have a quorum. I don't think we even need a quorum for these meetings, so it's not an issue.
Just a note, Frank, we don't actually, I never got the meetings from the last minute, so there's no minutes
No
to
minute
approve
to approve.
right now. No.
Okay. We don't have any old business, so Dan, I'll let you go ahead and take over the new business, the review of the draft data deck section 2.
So we have the section 2 of the draft. I posted it online and I got a good amount of feedback from Chris LaRose, which I appreciate, Chris. Thank you. And really tonight is just to kind of go through it quickly in the interest of everyone's time and see if there's any comments. You had some comments about some rec facilities last week, and if anybody else, Pat Daly or Pat McLaughlin, if you have any comments, or Regan or Sydney, we can keep it pretty
Yeah, I did have
low key.
recreational facilities too, because I didn't see the Ellis Woolley Park mentioned in there.
Yeah, so this was developed by our consultant as a first cut, and then we need to go in and make a million corrections. So that hasn't happened from staff side yet. So we can just burn, there's 68 pages for this, and then I have raw survey results, which is another 46 pages. So I'm a man of fewer words than Deanna, and I like to keep it moving.
We
So
like that too, so go for it.
So there's a lot of census data in here. We're anticipating we'll get new census data sometime this year. We're hoping from the 2020 census. So it's going to be updated probably at the 11th hour. But this is what we have at this point to go with. And everyone online, you can see this PowerPoint scrolling through. Okay.
Yep, we can see it, Dan.
First up, we had some functional classification of the roads, and really the roads that are colored within the city on this map are eligible for funding beyond local bond measures. So, you know, there's interstate, Route 2, the highway portion and the local portion, and then the purple roads. You can get different funding sources. Pat, if you want to expand more on it, you can use funding through the COG or through CONDOT to make improvements. They carry more traffic than local streets. All the gray streets are local streets.
Yeah, there's probably a couple, if they want to add different programs that we're eligible for, I could give you a couple more, like the TAP program and some other ones.
Okay.
The community, what's that one? The community
Connectivity.
one, yeah. Yep.
There's a brief mention of traffic volumes. It's kind of self-explanatory. They're the highest on the highways, and then West Main Street, Salem Turnpike, and then around the hospital area. The intersection at the end of the Route 2 connector is the busiest intersection in town. Does anybody else have any comments, questions?
It's just all stuff they took off of the DOT.
Yeah.
The source DOT. Yeah.
I did think it was strange that Route 82 is busier than like 395. You know, it's
Yeah, it has. Move people out of the way here. Yeah, it's just depends on the section. And
Yeah.
it's trips back and forth average. Some places have permanent station counts, and some they put down tubes, and just depending on when you catch it, you might get a busier day. Then we have crash data. There's a lot of crashes along Route 82, which various projects have been proposed to remedy. Won't really get into the political side of that here. We are working with the COG and Public Works on trying to get money for a planning study from the end of the Route 2 connector down to the NFA area to address congestion and safety there. We've talked about putting a roundabout at the end of the connector and potentially at Washington where it splits with Broadway, kind of in front of the Monument Triangle. That's congested in the morning and the afternoon due to the high school and just regular hospital traffic. Kind of a tight squeeze in front of the hospital. There's a lot of utility infrastructure close to the road and the parking lot. And then West Main Street, I'm not even going to bring that up at this moment. The big bubble in the center of the city is brighter because we had some pedestrians die in that area. So that increases the weight of the crash data. Interestingly, the interstate is relatively safe in Norwich. Not only 10% of the crashes are on the highway, much more on state roads and local roads. This map has the bus routes in town, kind of spread out as a spider web from the ITC into most of the populated areas. We're working on collecting sidewalk data and I'll be working on a complete streets plan in the next year or two, kind of focused around transit accessibility and sidewalk improvements. We have a survey. I had an intern a couple summers ago go out and catalog all the sidewalks and their conditions around town. And that's functions for us for planning, and then a kind of an asset management tool for Pat and Public Works. We have the rail lines, which are really owned by the same company. They just have different names. Stop me if you have any questions or comments from online or in the room. The walk score is kind of low. That's walkability and bikeability. I think if you broke it down by neighborhood, it'd be much higher in the denser neighborhoods. But if you get out in the hinterlands, you're not really walking or biking anywhere. There's nothing around. It'd be much higher in these shaded areas, which pretty much mirrors where the bus goes and where streetcars were forever ago. Then they added some long-term goals from the COGS MTP, talking about transit and long-range transportation needs, safety, complete streets, all things that we're working on, either through planning or through Public Works. We have a number of TAP grants that we've gotten that are starting to come to fruition. I think we kind of covered all this. Then facilities, I think there's a lot of missing things in community facilities. So I can kind of slowly scroll through the pages if people notice things that were missing. If you want to state it, so we have a list.
Like I said, the Ellis Ruley Park isn't in there anywhere. I think they should probably do that someplace. Sure, in which particular section.
Yeah, one thing I didn't mention in my comments, the customer service center is probably more important than the operations building.
Yeah.
For a document like this,
Okay.
and we're almost the same campus.
Mhm.
That's the one on North Main Street.
What's the intent here? Are these buildings that are open to the public, or like, for instance, our fleet, maintenance building isn't on here, but it's not really open for the public, so it probably shouldn't be on this listing here.
Well, I think it is things that are open to the public, but it's also things we have to worry about for resiliency or investment or just city assets that sometime in the next decade may need updates if they're mentioned in here. I don't know if we would go to the level of every single thing.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe it would be like, because the water pollution control facilities on there, and that's not open to the public really either. So
Yeah,
yeah, we should probably add in the fleet maintenance facility on Asylum Street.
okay.
Yeah, and Dan, I would just add that, the Lathrop Schoolhouse is technically city-owned and it operates as the visitor center for Norwich, so that should be an inclusion as well.
Great.
I think if you tell us what level, because I could throw in, 50 sewer pump stations.
Yeah,
And some of those pump stations may take a $5 million upgrade.
right.
So it's not like it's insignificant for dollars in upgrade and planning, but I don't know if it belongs in this document.
Yeah. And I don't know if we would cover that in the utilities and portion of the infrastructure where we would say MPU has a plan for maintenance and upgrades at your infrastructure. But we would probably want the main building, customer service, maybe
Lab.
yeah, Falls Ave,
Falls Ave.
that type of thing.
Well, that would be part of the water pollution control facility, right?
Yeah.
But you might want to say and associated pump stations or something like that, just to kind of,
And maybe substations, but not sewer pump stations. I don't know where you cut the line, because we'd have, Another
7 water
50.
tanks, 3
Yeah.
substations, 50 sewer pump
Yeah.
stations, 3 reducing stations, Huh?
Utility pole.
of which only half are ours.
Let's see.
The other half is Frontier.
I read this more as facilities that are providing direct services to the community. Would it be helpful, Dan, to kind of have like an infrastructure facilities, like you said?
yeah,
Um,
we could categorize them out to public facing facilities and then support facilities or some other name.
Because I think Chris's point of those stations, like that might not be on the front mind of, a resident, but it's certainly something that should be planned long-term and on the record long-term of, yeah, we knew about this and we were planning ahead of this.
And then some things on here, I mean, the hospital isn't really a public facility. We don't own or maintain that, but
And I would say
But
that
they use
the
CFS.
volunteer fire department isn't a city-owned facility either.
Or the Norwich Housing Authority, I was thinking about that too.
NCDC.
Yeah,
I think it's good to show what we have.
Yeah, I
And
don't
that's the
think it
thing.
should
I mean,
be
for
on
the
there.
case
I'm
of,
just
yeah,
saying,
it's, we pay. for
It's
the
not
road.
a.
It's not city owned, but it's city supported.
Supporting perception,
Yeah.
if it's there, then people think the city owns it, I think.
yeah. Or it's just covered under emergency services,
Yeah.
so,
And on the back is, I just. And I think.
Yeah, any more than American ambulance is a city owned.
Yeah. Dr. Healthcare now.
Huh?
Dr. Healthcare owns them now.
No.
I think.
American ambulance?
Yeah.
they're
Oh, I
being
didn't know
sold.
that.
Just yesterday. Yeah, it's like, wow.
Did the sale go through yesterday?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew it was.
coming, yeah, no, it just, through River, should we break out colleges and universities and just its own category, since we do have a higher education?
yeah, I
Yeah.
think this list
make
of
that
the
stand
public
out a little bit.
schools, that would be a separate
Yeah,
list, in my opinion.
Things like the cooperative over there by Three Rivers too.
oh, yeah.
The Yukon extension.
Yukon extension.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if you wanted to include like the Montessori schools that are in town as well. I know they're not city owned, but they're still part of.
actually, the Montessori is listed on the private schools.
Oh, they are. Okay. I'm just looking at Dan's. Okay. Thank you, Dan. I didn't.
Wildwood Christian Schools on it listed too, actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I guess if you're gonna list them, do you list like the Catholic schools then too?
Right, that's what I was thinking.
so,
Okay. So this, Chris had some comments about this.
Well,
Yeah.
I can't do much better than this map unless you break it up in by fire district or some other
Yeah,
thing to make it into 4 or 5 pages.
yeah.
And I don't know if that really matters that much or not,
I don't really think that it does.
so.
Yeah, it's, I don't know why. Why are these called out?
Those are private,
Wells, okay.
Community, small community, wells, and I did give you comments that we have taken over.
Sunnyside,
The, which one is it? The,
countryside,
countryside.
Yeah.
And, we ran water up there and, they abandoned their well.
okay. That's in, so the 7-Eleven has its own well?
Must
Very
be if it's
interesting.
there.
Yeah.
It's on there.
On Laurel Hill?
Uh,
No, where's that?
In Occam, right by the highway.
Oh, that's Camp from. Oh, Occam.
Yeah, 97.
Huh.
Yeah,
Never mind that, what's the Middlebury Hamlet? I've never heard of that. I lived on the west side my entire life.
Middlebury, what?
Hamlet, down in the corner on, right there.
Yeah.
The heck is that?
I don't know. That's interesting.
Pretty much me. I've never heard of that. I'm also not gonna drink the water from the 7-Eleven gas station well at all. So your service area, is that's pulled from a state map or some kind of regional plan?
yeah,
That's
so,
pretty accurate.
yeah, so, we have added in water, a emergency interconnect to Sprague. So it's a transmission line, I think we have maybe 2 customers in Sprague along the way, but, we do serve all the way to their, town hall essentially.
Okay. So maybe we just have them add a note here.
Mhm.
Because that, I don't know who made this map. It's in the COGS water plan.
How do private wells feature into this, especially from a wetlands or EPA perspective?
They don't.
Yeah,
Okay,
They just worried about, they talk about community systems.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not just an individual well.
Now, like, a dentist office, if they are on a well, is a small community water system.
got it. Okay, thank you.
As they're serving members of the public that,
So it's not a single family home.
single family homes, yeah.
okay,
And that's why you don't see a lot of big apartment complexes outside of, areas where there's public water.
Right.
Because they have to manage their own well and do all the state requirements that, smaller scale, but most of the same requirements that we have to do as a community, a large community system.
okay.
So, but like private roads that are within Norwich's jurisdiction, or not even private roads, just roads where water service doesn't go. Do we have to mention that in this, like as an opportunity?
So, there's 2 things, is the water needs to be paid for by the users and the assessor, and people get assessed as the water goes by their homes. So it's really where there's no water, it's cost prohibitive. And the only way you can get water to a place like that would be if there was a failed system and the city had decided to help. Or if there's a big development and somebody wants to fund the millions of dollars it takes to extend the water. Water right now is $300 to $400 a foot.
Thank you.
So actually, as a follow-up to that, don't you have like a projected expansion area or like goals for certain expansions? Like I know with sewers that you have, we have projected not like non-sewered area, areas that you expect to keep non-sewered and other areas that, may potentially become sewered.
So there's places where we don't allow sewer in this plan. And there's places that we do allow, but that doesn't mean it's cost effective. Teddy Lane is an area, for instance, that should have sewers. Nobody wants to put sewers in, nobody wants to pay the assessment. And the assessment is probably gonna be in the $12,000 to $15,000 range.
So would it be fair to, in areas of town where this doesn't have public water, is it a goal? If money wasn't an object, you would run water out there.
Not to all, because we want to preserve green space, right? It goes with, in effect with zoning, so.
Yeah, so kind of water and sewer equals development. If there's water and sewer there, the incentive to develop things there is much higher than if there's
Just thinking
neither
some of
one.
the Not heavily.
So like
developed,
in our 40 area, you would never want to run water and sewer to. But someplace where you want dense development, dense housing or commercial development, you want water and sewer.
All right, so it's based more off of population density then.
And where you want to grow and where you don't. I mean.
Yeah, it's used to control growth. Or it can be.
Yeah, but a place like Teddy Lane. All of a sudden, old people move out, young families move in, systems start failing, you may get enough momentum for them to ask for a project, but. If we went in there now, we would be, crucified if we, Because once you put it in, everyone along the path has to pay for the assessment. They don't have to connect, but they have to pay for the assessment.
Yeah, I was thinking more like water up Briar Hill,
Up where?
Briar Hill. Next street over Teddy Lane's the street there, and there's no public water.
And there's not a lot of density up there either.
Not a lot of density, it's more for my public,
Yeah, you'd like to have a fire hydrant too up there, I'm sure.
yeah,
Mhm.
in Scotland, where a lot of those.
Yeah, some you get because like, Canterbury Turnpike, that's the line that runs down Ocken.
Yeah, I got lucky, yeah.
So
it worked out,
that's
yeah.
why you got some good water there. It also serves the school, so.
So it's tough to see on this map, but there is in this yellow is proposed
Yeah.
sewer service areas. Like Happy Land, and I mean, I'm assuming you may run, would you,
That's Preston.
Preston? But you don't have any right to run sewer, like if the
No.
state hospital gets redeveloped, you
So
don't
the
get
state,
to.
right now, we have been maintaining the pump station at the state hospital for the town of Preston.
Yep.
What they would do is the town of Preston, and we have to meet with the first select woman of that town, is they need to form a WPCA.
Mhm.
They need to pump that to us, and then we take it over, but they own all the pipes in the ground and all the maintenance of that system.
Yep.
And that's what we do in all the other surrounding communities. We own water in their towns, but we don't own any of the sewer in their towns.
Gotcha.
Sewer is a very regulated by state statute, so it's a different animal than water, gas, or electric.
Any other comments from the digital audience? Should we move on? I'm
Infrastructure.
guessing. Yeah, I don't remember if you had comments for this, or we should probably mention something about the wastewater
So I didn't put anything
upgrades.
in here for recently completed, but I said a whole bunch, including the wastewater plant. I probably sent you about $220 million worth of projects.
So we'll add all that in.
So what's what is the threshold really? I mean, is it like $1 million projects and above or?
I would think larger projects would go in here, Pat. So, bridges.
Yeah, like
Sunnyside
Sherman Street
Sherman
bridges.
Street Bridge. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would want to put that in
How
here.
recently completed, like Sunnyside Street Bridge, we could put that in there, Pleasant Street Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd put anything in here that was done since 2013 when the last plan was adopted.
Okay.
That's a lot to add there.
And as far as road projects, like would Dunham Street, like 1.3 million, is that enough to put in there or not really?
I would like to because it had complete street stuff, so I'd probably
Okay.
include it in that. So we talk about Dunham Street, we talk about the TAP project that's going on London Turnpike, that type of thing.
Okay.
I don't know if you want a higher cutoff for utilities because you might have 20 pages.
Yeah, right.
We'd probably just do bigger
Mhm.
things.
I give you, top 10 almost in every division. Tucker Braddock, I believe, is he called me and I just texted him back, but he's trying to get into this meeting.
Okay,
And he wants to have the ID number.
the ID number is right here. Want me to read it to you?
813.
1493 0465. So we'll add in your comments here too, Chris, for the gas and electric.
Mhm.
And I guess we'll talk about, we have some solar arrays.
So
up
there are
there.
2 solar arrays that are large solar arrays. We have maybe 20 small solar installations throughout the city that are public, funded by local homeowners or businesses. But the big ones are on Stott Avenue and Rogers Road.
Mhm.
About 5 megawatts of solar between the two, and then we have, I think, 1.7 megawatts of battery storage at Stott Avenue. And the plan will be put significantly more battery storage in going forward, probably in the 15 megawatt range.
Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned that other one behind Walmart or or not at this point. I don't know how real that is yet. Pretty real,
No,
no,
no.
Okay.
When they find out the cost of the interconnection, it may or may not break the project. You know, I think they're 2 years out before they can do a real good estimate of whether that's gonna go forward or not.
Okay.
And put it in, but
so we'll have some takeaways, things that happened since the last plan, and then big things that are coming up in the next 5 to 10 years. Parks, Rec, and Open Space. I think a big recommendation I want to have in the plan is that we develop a separate open space plan. As kind of a marching order from this P O C D. Where we'll go into more detail and we'll tie it in with the rec plan. However, that ends up being developed. And if people have additions here, we can talk about them, but then if you could email them to me, I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah. Where would Dodge Stadium fit into this?
Hmm,
A recreational facility? I guess, right?
yeah, that's somewhat open to the public. I mean, public,
Well, it's city owned.
yeah,
But is that more an event space like, you know, the theater or something like that?
yeah. I don't know. These all seem to be more things that you can go on any given day and use. But we could talk about it somewhere.
Well, where it fits in, yeah, it needs to,
Yeah.
it should fit in somewhere. Either maybe under city infrastructure or something, but
Yeah,
I think that's right.
Yeah,
It
that's
definitely
not-
should be in there somewhere.
Maybe infrastructure that does, because it's a municipal, call it a municipal stadium, you know, because it has multiple uses.
yeah.
You know, it's not just baseball.
yeah, there's community events up there. But it is city owned though.
So we can add more about Uncas Leap. You know, what's happened and what's happening going forward. And then this is what I was talking about for the open space plan. As of right now, it's just this page from the last P O C D. I think we'd like a more detailed plan with where we'd like to move in the future, where we're at and where we'd like to move in the future. We've talked a lot. We talked a few years ago now about linking the reservoirs.
Pre-COVID, yeah.
Pre-COVID, yeah. And connecting them to schools to kind of do an emerald necklace of sorts. Starting up there. And we probably add in the land that Avalonia has. What, I forget the name of it, on Hunter's Road, that type of thing. So. We've got some things happening on that front. It's nice that we have that organization starting to operate here.
Yeah.
And we can talk about the
You got any green
greenways.
space on the Roosevelt Ave area? Is that so small? It's tucked in there.
I think it's right here. I think there's a sliver of green.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talk anywhere about kayaking in there.
We will, yeah, blue ways and recreational tourism will kind of tie that in. I think would like to see kayak put-ins in different spots along the river.
And Dan, are we gonna think about creating new open space or a plan for new open space areas? Is that something we want to think about?
Yeah, I think not in this document, but one
Okay.
of the action items will be creating that document.
Okay, I gotcha. Sounds good.
So obviously this right here is happening now. We don't have a rec center per se. But in our stakeholder meetings, Pat Daly had brought up splash pads or some kind of neighborhood.
Something breaking it down to neighborhood level.
Yeah.
Especially in a walkable neighborhood.
Yeah. I'll give you a quick preview of the survey. We had 227 responses, which was more than I thought we'd get. And some kind of aquatic splash pad thing is kind of off the charts in what people want to see. And I don't think we're gonna see a pool, but there's opportunity for something to happen.
I know, I've discussed it before, when they were talking about the first splash pad, it was a, waste of water and dump it into the drain, and, it was very hard to support that from a sustainability and reliability, not reliability, but sustainability.
Yeah.
And all that, so, all for it from the utility, but we really don't want to use potable water to do
Because
that.
you know what the other communities use? Cause I know in a lot of the urban environments, splash pads are,
They do both. The problem when you go with just a recyclable water is you need bathrooms and you need a lot of testing. So there's maintenance involved. And if you just use fresh water, you don't need showers for whatever reason.
so what's your experience been like, the Hartfords and Waterbury?
And they had a consultant come in and talk about it, and it's a mix of both. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, with drought, we only waste the water, but if you do something more flow that would. Do something for the urban areas, the underserved population. I still think much needed.
About river water, say over at the old golf course, old mini golf course. Howard Brown Park.
Same thing, I think the river water you gotta treat, or it's recycled water, you're gonna have to showers and bathrooms, and then. If you have to go through that, are you gonna take your 5-year-old to go play in the splash pad when they're ingesting the water? Probably not. I wouldn't.
What about something from Spalding Pond or something? Up in the,
Wherever you come from, you gotta treat it,
yeah,
that's the thing.
is there a
and
package system where it kind of
You
does
can
it
swim in
all
but
right
you
there?
can't Splash in it.
Well, you do swim in it, so I guess. I mean, I'm the water expert, I'm just worried about, water sitting there in a pond, but. I'll defer to the utilities.
That's not, I have no expertise in splash pads other than providing.
You want clean water when you're circulating it through and kids are playing in it.
Yeah. But if you recirculate it, you chlorinate it, you test it, you manage it, and. Why bathrooms there and not bathrooms at the other, I don't know, but. People are gonna pee in the water, I guess.
That's gonna happen regardless. If you have a bunch of kids
But if
there.
it goes out, it comes from the splash and goes straight out the drain.
Yeah.
It's actually easier to manage than the pool to sit there.
Yeah,
Dan, I would love to update that town history language, if that's okay.
that sounds phenomenal. Whatever you want to send, it works for me.
Okay, I will help you with that.
Sounds good. Some of the things they've sent us have been from a different Norwich in a different state. So we've kind of had to rein them in a little bit. Their Norwich Public Housing was from Norwich, New York at first. So I'm sure someone lower on the chain at SLR got an email or
It's
two.
easy to get England. I get England a lot. when I'm
Yeah.
trying to-
I get emails all the time from people complaining about something's going on.
Oh, yeah.
That and Norwich, New York did something.
Your rates went up by
Guys,
6 pounds. It's like,
Yeah. So you're on top of all this, Regan?
Yeah, I'm gonna look over this more closely, but yeah, I can help you with
Okay.
this, Dan.
Besides the historic places, should we have something in there about the Freedom Trail?
Yeah, I was just gonna mention, we could add the Walk Norwich trails too, Dan, as a.
Yeah, that's
additional-
great. That'd be a
additional
good-
asset.
Good map to have.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I can send you all that.
Text about that. I don't know. Is this all of the buildings and structures on the National Register? Seems short.
I think, yeah, these are the individually listed buildings, it
Okay.
looks like.
Okay.
Obviously, in each district, there's, Norwich Town District is a couple hundred, so,
Yeah.
and same with like the Chelsea Parade District, that's a lot, actually. But this is just for the individually listed ones, so this looks okay.
Okay, sounds good. I don't think we want to list every single thing.
Yeah, that would be very lengthy.
Try to make the plan shorter rather than longer. So this all makes sense to me, the river basins and water resources. I don't know where they got this water quality.
That's
thing
from the DEP.
Okay. We can talk about stormwater requirements, Pat.
Yeah, somewhere in this section, there's two pieces that, well, there's three. There's non-point sources, there's the MS4 stuff, and there's the sewer plant discharge, all impact themes.
We'll have things on wetlands. I think this is just taken from our city website page is where they got that. This is state data. Same thing here. This is interesting. So we're losing forest cover, developing more lawns, more grass, losing fields. Norwich has a lot of rock, it's steep in places, it has steep streets. We'll keep all that. Brownfields, I'm gonna defer to Deanna on that. We're working on remediation in a number of areas. We'll probably highlight some of the mills, Panema and Hill Mill, that type of thing. We can talk about the sewer plant upgrades and the.
I gave some information on that, but there'll be much more to come in the next three to 4 months. We've been guaranteed to be able to go out to bid by January 20th. Because there's a big sewer conference coming up, and they want to pat themselves on the back, even though they've been dragging their feet for 6 months.
So we'll do the regional climate resilience. We have some stuff from Sustainable CT. Our certification is coming up, so we'll be reapplying for that and working whatever we need to do to check those boxes.
Yeah, I did give comments, we're no longer a clean city, so.
Okay,
But we're still doing all the initiatives.
Gotcha.
Of clean cities.
summer storms and flooding. Pat, I don't know if you want to take a closer look at this section and have any comments, you can email them. We have gone to a few meetings. I can't remember the guy's name, but they're doing that regional report dealing with hazard mitigation. So we'll probably pull in any updates if they come out in time.
Right, a lot of those high hazard dams are ours at utilities. Pat's got some as well.
Okay.
I don't know if you want details or not. But we have emergency response plans on all these and, there's a whole lot of information, but I don't know if it really matters.
Yeah, I think we'll mention it like they have here. We have X amount of class C, class B, and then we can say that you have plans,
Emergency
plans. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least we do.
Are there plans to eliminate any of them in the future or?
No.
Yeah, so. It's kind of, it is what it is, and it's going to be what it is.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
Water supplies, right?
Right.
And hydros on the Shetucket.
Yeah.
And it has got sprawling ponds, so I think that's 4 of them.
Right, so the regional hazard mitigation plan is being updated, so we'll just take whatever they have from in there. Their priority areas and their action areas. Talk about sewer separation. And then there's state goals and regional goals for greenhouse gas. Flood risk. Stan does not have emergency power and is within the 1% annual flood zone.
Well, somewhere in here, you gotta incorporate the whole new school plan.
Yeah,
That might be good for a infrastructure underway page that, you know, it's not, nothing we can point to yet, but it passed and the seed money.
Yeah.
Allocated.
we can link to their studies and their presentations. So we're not in clean cities by choice, is that what it is?
Yes.
Okay.
There was not a lot of value and it was really geared towards the big cities that did not. But we are continuing to do
Yeah.
all the activities that we did, just no reporting.
So we'll probably put some language in there that says that,
Mhm.
exactly. Sustainable CT, I think that is pretty much it for this never-ending PowerPoint. We can switch quickly to survey results. As I said, we had 227 responses. Not everyone, you didn't have to answer everything, so some people skipped. Pretty good age range spread for the survey. A lot of people living in Norwich full-time, working. And I don't have breakdown, I don't have the individual answers, but pretty good neighborhood spread as well. Except maybe Thamesville. But it's kind of balanced from where you would think the responses would come from. A lot of longtime residents or working in Norwich. A lot of single person households or two people households. Or no children under 18. I don't know, there's 10% or over 10% is other, so I'm interested to kind of dive into those a little deeper. We didn't get responses kind of balanced. We're really 50-50 for single family versus multifamily.
Is that 50-50 or just predominantly answered by homeowners?
No, I'm saying the city itself is 50-50 renter
Okay.
versus homeowner, and it's, you know,
Skewed towards.
homeowners are more likely to take a survey. This kind of goes with it too. A lot of people see themselves in the same home in 10 years, or a larger home or a smaller home.
Yeah, mostly an older population answer.
Yeah. Yeah,
Kind of reflects the city.
right. So too many, the right amount, or not enough, the following housing types. The colors are the green is too many, the yellow is not enough, and blue is just the right amount. So there's a demand for affordable housing and apartments, I would say. Affordable senior housing and assisted living. Which, again, to your point, reflects an older population. You see yourself living in Norwich 10 years from now. So the main reason people don't see themselves staying here is cost of living, which is interesting because it's less than almost everywhere surrounding here. So,
Although most of the people that entered single family homes, a lot of people who own single family homes just look at the tax numbers.
right. And again, I haven't looked at what all these other answers are. There's probably 30 different answers. People mainly feel connected to the community, which was kind of surprising in a good way. A lot of lifers, a lot of people like the location for commuting. It's kind of convenient to Hartford or Providence or Point South. Probably work on the school system. Quality of life is a solid 3.1 out of 5. Sorry, 3.14. But a huge chunk of people said it's declined. Quality of life has declined in the last 10 years. Got some work to do on sidewalks. Which, you know, we're starting it. We're getting some data. The marina, people aren't happy with that. Road maintenance, which I don't know, Pat, I'd give you some credit. The roads are in pretty good shape.
We didn't keep digging through them on utilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the roads are in better shape, you know, pretty good, very, you know.
Yeah. This is split. I guess it probably depended on what their road looked like out
Where
front.
you live, you
Yeah.
know, you got a pothole road.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of people from Caribou Drive must have answered.
We'll get there, Pat.
They're all feedbacks, they're all.
Yeah, parking, which I think is more of a perception education issue. I don't think there's remotely a parking issue in town. People really want to park. Almost inside the building they want to go.
Depends on where you're going.
Yeah,
You gotta walk more.
I've
than
said
a
this for
block to
years,
get
my
to-
quote's been, you know, you have parking garages within a New York City block, all, there's 3 of them, right? In,
That's what I always say to
Square.
people.
In New York City, you're happy. You
Yeah.
gotta walk from Municipal Law on Cliff Street to the courthouse, you're enraged.
Yeah, that's what I tell people all the time. If you're in New York City and
You're glad.
you would park, you know, a half mile away and you think that was a great deal.
for $60.
Yeah,
for-
100%,
Yeah.
right, there's plenty of parking in New York City.
Yeah, we're just spoiled.
You know, like I don't usually drive on this road here at night. It's amazing how many cars are parked on this road at night. It's always empty during the day when I'm popping in for meetings.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. School system. Needs some work. Code enforcement. I think people are concerned about blight. I think people want more rec programs. Kind of even on, we have the right amount of parks and playgrounds versus we need some more. Garbage pickup,
Wow, I'm surprised that's as high as it is.
yeah.
Well, you know what, it could be the blight, you see one couch on the side of the road.
Yeah,
That may be sanitation, but I think maybe people might have interpreted it as more of a blight issue
yeah,
and. Than sanitation, because the garbage is picked up is fine.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like,
You should answer my phones.
special
well, the
events,
people complain, but it's, you know, they do a decent job.
public transportation, most of the people you'll see later on, I think have never taken the bus. So we may want to figure out a way to do some more outreach down at the bus hub. Or they have no interaction with the Chamber of Commerce. This may be Tucker. Permitting and licensing, no interaction. Good marks for you, Pat. Yeah. Senior Center, good marks. People love the library. People love the volunteer fire districts. People love the fire department. But sidewalks in the marina, Here's the aquatic facilities is overwhelmingly not enough.
How much of that is the Y closing and just? people,
Yeah.
You know, I've been upset forever since then.
Yeah.
I've been saying forever, we need a new community center. I think that's the one thing in my mind.
Trails, people want more trails. Rec programs, I think this is for teenagers, not enough. Things for teenagers to do, keep them occupied. Places to bike, skateboard, rollerblade. I think this one is recreational programs for adults or seniors that people want to see more of. More protection of undeveloped land. Even though earlier we said we probably had enough playgrounds, now we don't have enough on this question. And as Chris had brought up, kayaking, water access, boat launches. There's multiple it's different age groups. Protecting farmlands. Tennis courts. They're hot button issue. Basketball courts, we have a good amount. Soccer, multi-purpose fields, good amount. We're good with baseball fields. But the community pool or splash pad is almost 87% too few. The young children, seniors. These are open space priorities for the next 10 years. Critical habitat areas is high. Passive open space, which is hiking trails, is high. Water access. Land preservation. And then active open space, kind of athletic fields and multi-use fields. Protecting the wetlands. Protecting farmlands. Yeah, these are the top. Regan, you need to explore more ways to protect historic assets. Unless you took this 220 times. Just this question.
I did not rig the system,
All
don't
right.
worry.
Got 140 positive votes here. So I'm going to scroll down so we can see the full words here. This is to encourage resiliency and sustainability. We should. And the main thing was invest in capital improvements to protect city property from storms. So Chris, I want you to bury all the power lines.
Okay.
And Pat, you got to improve all the
You don't wanna
stormwater
see my
drainage.
rates.
Renewable energy. And then 34 others, which I'll delve into. I'm surprised this electric vehicle charging station is so low. Although I feel like that's going to happen by state mandate anyway, in a lot of places.
Yeah, I'll forward you and Deanna something tomorrow. There's a new state statute that requires any large housing development to install them.
Yeah.
So I don't know, are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's kind of in our zoning regs, but it'll be part of the application process. And is that on their
On
dime?
there, done.
Okay.
Have you heard anything about hydrogen power?
So it's really has to do with, it's a very efficient way of bringing, like, you know, vehicles, large trucks on hydrogen. But when you start talking about other sources, you gotta have a big windmill turning offshore, generating the hydrogen, something to turn it. You can make hydrogen all different colors. You can use coal to make hydrogen. There's clean hydrogen, there's dirty hydrogen, but the best is like a wind powered generator of it. Our system, we're expecting to probably be blending in the next 5 years or so.
Toyota is coming out with a 5-liter engine for commercial and for private cars.
BMW's had them for years.
Well, there's not much difference between a hydrogen car and a natural gas vehicle, very close. So the technology's been around for a real long time.
Yeah,
It's just a place to get clean hydrogen.
yeah, I know, I remember reading, in Germany where they had installed all kinds of heavy fueling stations all around. Because BMW is so big into them.
But the problem with these intermittent things like wind, and solar is, how do you store it? You can store it in batteries, but you can also generate hydrogen and store it in hydrogen.
Right.
Oh, really? Is that
Yeah.
the issue?
But that's probably the power plants of the future will be hydrogen versus natural gas.
Are there any community amenities, rec facilities, or services that Norwich is lacking? That seems to not have shown up. So I will figure out why that's not on here. Then employed status. Most people drive alone or work from home. Most people work in Norwich or Groton, New London. I think we only had one respondent that worked at Mohegan Sun, which was surprising to me.
That's your rentals probably
Yeah,
versus your homeowners.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised there's less people at EV than is showing up either.
yeah.
It's hiring like crazy.
And I'll scroll down so we can read these. Norwich should grow its tech base through additional commercial development. Agree or strongly agree. Additional industrial development, agree or strongly agree. Good blend of residential,
They
commercial.
should support the business park north.
I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah,
I
it's
will.
very interesting, very interesting.
Not in my neighborhood.
Yeah,
That's what it all
just
comes
I
down
want
to.
lower taxes, but not here. So good blend. It's kind of split through the middle. Increase housing supply to support the local economy. Kind of agree to strongly agree. Focus on business districts is kind of middle, agree or neutral. Develop vacant parcels along the riverfront, strongly agree to agree. This is, do people mainly shop and dine in town or other places or equally? So it's kind of close on all three. A third, a third, a third.
Should have an Amazon.
Yeah,
On that question.
no one rides the bus. Most important, transportation.
We're getting a pretty quintessential view of Norwich here from, I think, respondents. We had that last year too with our survey. It's typically skewed towards homeowners.
Yeah.
You lose the whole homeless population, you lose most renters, if we're talking 50-50 for the town, and 75% is homeowners. We're missing a gap here.
Yeah. Transportation improvements. Improving and expanding sidewalk network was number one. Even though no one rides the bus, they want to improve the public transportation throughout the region. Maybe they want more commuter rail rather than the bus. Parking scored high. Don't really agree with that, but the bike network, plan for new technologies, reduce congestion. I don't think we really have any congestion, not if you go anywhere else. What do you like most about Norwich?
I think they all.
Yeah, I think these are all open-ended, so there's,
Oh, tax responses or something?
yeah, probably 169 different answers. What change would you do to most create the Norwich you want in the future? People want more restaurants, retail options. And then we have jobs, improve roadways and drainage, parks, historic preservation, youth services, arts and cultural offerings. And then 47 others, which I'll delve into. People mainly use social media and word of mouth to find out about events. And 60% of people would like to be involved further. That 110 people gave me their email address, so that's all. I just downloaded this a few hours ago, so I'll be combing through it. Let you know some highlights.
You guys have done quite a few outreaches trying to get people to
Yeah, we had some
Are there any
help
more
from
coming up, or is this?
the
pretty much-
survey. It had to close at some point. We'll do some public meetings. We'll kind of do one halfway through and then one towards the end. And we're gonna use the Envision Norwich 360. So now that the survey is closed, I kind of move my focus to outreach through that. And
We had a similar issue. We did a citizen satisfaction survey with the police department. Norwich Town was the overwhelming. Respondents came from there. We totally missed, the demographics were horrible. And then we would publicize it, reopen it, and then we went to targeted, groups and neighborhood meetings, trying to get people to respond. So we struggled with that. We never really got a true picture of Norwich, and that's the problem with this. Unfortunately, is you really have to hire a traditional survey person who goes out and knocks on
Yeah,
doors
door
and
to
talks
door.
to people.
yeah,
Because that's the
Nobody
only
answers
way
phones
to do
anymore.
it, because people, this is so easy to skew how you want. People sit there and tell everyone take it 10 times, or, I don't have to track by IP address, or it's just that the homeless aren't there, the marginalized communities aren't represented. Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun, probably the two biggest employers in Norwich. You can see that no one's working there. So that tells you that we just missed the entire city.
Yeah.
And some of that's on us. I think the biggest takeaway that I have, and I do have to leave, so let me finish my rant and I'll get out of here. People feel connected to the city. They're not. We gotta find a way to get people connected. Tonight we identified, people don't know where the parks are. We need parks, we have too many parks. That's the direct conflict. We don't have parking. I don't take the bus, but we need more buses.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things like that that tell me that people really don't know enough about their city, and we gotta do a lot more public education of what the city has to offer and how you go to get there. There's a tremendous amount of things we have that people have no idea about, and we just gotta get that message out there to people that, hey, listen, here's how you park, here's where you can park in the city. Here's what you do, here's how we have so many programs and things to offer that people just don't know about. And the only people who take time for the survey, you can see the demographics, they're probably white, homeowning, upper, middle class people, and we're missing a whole demographic. We're the stress community for
So
a reason.
many, people who, English as a second language.
And they're not gonna do it, and it's taking the
They're not gonna
time.
look at a computer and do it.
taking these surveys, and I got lambasted, that's why I was patting myself on the back, how wonderful I was, I had a 99% satisfaction rate, and I think we had 3 minority responses out of like 200. So it's troubling, and my takeaway was, if you want to do a survey and be honest, you actually have to like contract with a college and get people to go out there and go door to door. Or, exit,
You gotta go where the people are.
go where the people are, or stand outside at an election day or something, so you get the voters, at least you know what the flavor of the voters are. Our newspapers are lacking, social media, really, believe it or not, I think, and that's not me, I'm not on Facebook, what I'm hearing right now, the source of people's information for Norwich is Norwich Community Forum.
and it's
That's a weird place.
not a good source, I'll tell you
Probably,
that.
it's easy to.
It's a Facebook group.
Facebook.
It's a Facebook group, all they do is comment on it.
Oh, but one thing happens, it just goes off. I mean,
Yeah, and off on a tangent, but that's probably getting more views than the Norwich Bulletin.
Right, I mean, look at who we're missing here.
1,000,000%, yeah.
Like those folks are using that platform. They're not using the survey platform.
Yeah.
And they might not say things that are positive about Norwich, but this was a very positive survey about Norwich.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
And I love Norwich. I'm just saying that there might be Pat is absolutely right. We're missing a demographic here. I wonder, Chris, is this something that we could put on bills or do a mass email out? At least advertising Envision 360 or something to that extent.
So we have room on our utility bills to do that. But we do find that people don't read their utility bills. Happy to put that as another touch point.
Yeah, and well, the mayor's thing on this month's bill had he talked all about Envision Norwich 360. So it's
Okay.
actually in the utility mailer.
It's
That
tough,
just
and
came
you're
out.
gonna get roasted, and we
Yeah.
would do it, and we're thinking about the things we're gonna do in the future. Is you just don't read it, but you put yourself out on Norwich Community Forum. Hi,
Yeah,
here's
and
here's
we're
the link
hoping-
to the survey,
Yeah,
take it, will you get to drive the bus for Norwich? And then just back out and don't read the comments, because all they're gonna do is troll you
Yeah,
and tell us how bad things are, but the people, if 20 more people take the survey, maybe we're getting closer to the demographic we're looking for.
and we're hoping that the Envision Norwich 360 kind of functions as the Facebook forum in a more civilized way.
Civilized way.
Yeah.
We just gotta get the people there, that's what I'm saying, is,
Yeah.
you know, people think they're connected, I would say they're totally not connected, because they don't know all this stuff that's available.
Yeah.
I gotta go, we got another meeting upstairs.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thanks, Pat.
have a good one.
Anybody else have any comments that they want to make regarding the discussion tonight or any other matters with the OCD? No?
Oh, sorry, just one question. Dan, when do you want feedback on the document by? Is there a deadline or just any time?
When you can, in the next
Okay.
couple weeks is fine. Yeah,
Tomorrow?
yeah. I can assure you I am not working on it tomorrow. But if Frank says tomorrow, then I can go with that.
Give me next week, because I have 3 events from Thursday through Friday, so I,
100% fine, not a problem at all.
Anybody else?
One last idea for outreach is best practice by Council of Governments. They talk about like workshops, and I know we've tried that before with some specific pools of funding. But if you made it perhaps, especially with Envision 360, it probably has this kind of interface where you make it like a choice game. Essentially, they're doing that with the budget exercise piece, but if you offer a workshop where at different times, one during the day for people who aren't working, one at night for people who do, you provide childcare, you provide pizza so that folks can come regardless of their barrier. And would be able, maybe not do a full question survey like we did, but to get main touch points of this and at least give them the opportunity to have their input on that platform. Again, you would post it on Facebook to try to get those folks as well, or other outreach actives.
Sounds good.
How about handouts during controversial meetings? Only because, you know, you go to a normal city council meeting, there's 10 people at the council meeting.
Right.
You go to a Business Park North zoning or a fire department controversial issue, and there's 150 people in the
Yeah.
audience. And yeah, it's it's an awkward time, but if you handed out things for, you know, promoting a link,
Yeah.
maybe it resonates with 10 or 20 of those people.
How about church meetings? I mean, there's a lot of local churches.
Yeah,
that
I
have
mean,
local
we
people
went to
involved.
all of the cultural, the different things every month that were
Yeah,
downtown.
no, I mean, actually going to like, you know, the local churches.
Yeah,
Having the pastors, you know,
yeah,
and, because they've got a lot of participation and they got a lot of people who are not, you know, in the demographic we're talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of the people who go to some of the churches are the local people who rent and, you know, who go to the soup kitchen for their food and that kind of thing, so.
So I did make it
I
available.
left the soup kitchen, I left the mobile food pantry tonight at Three Rivers to come here.
Mhm.
200+ cars driving through another place, hand out
yeah,
information, and they are very good at handing out stuff, United Way and other things, but I'm sure it would be
Okay.
able to accommodate something like that.
And the soup
For the
kitchen has,
community.
you know, St. Vincent Paul has, you know, the pantry 3 days a week.
Yeah.
and You always get a couple hundred people at those, you know, families, you know, and the lower income people that
Mhm.
we're not seeing in these demographics.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
It also wasn't available in Haitian Creole or Vietnamese, which is your Mohegan Sun and your Foxwoods population. Folks who work here, that is largely their demographic as well.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, some of the churches, you know, like St. Mary's up there, they have the Creole Mass, and, you know, the Congregational Church in Greenville has the Creole stuff, you know, they're in touch with those people.
Was it in Hispanic?
We had it in English and Spanish.
Okay, because that's 12% or so of the population is
Yeah,
Hispanic.
and we have Spanish speaking staff that went to the Global Cities Norwich events over the summer and the fall, and people just don't want to take the survey, even if someone is approaching them in their own language.
Yeah.
So
It
within
was a
our,
long survey.
yeah, within our budget and our staffing levels, we did what we could do.
Yeah.
You know, it's always difficult. I've been doing this for ever now, and it's difficult to get people.
Way
to-
better than the last one, Dan.
Yeah. So we're trying. We're putting a lot of eggs in the Envision 360. Basket.
That
Yeah,
Pulls it together.
People are using it more than the bulletin article would make you.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Thank
who reads the bulletin anymore?
Yeah. Well, I think to Sydney's point, maybe if we do another survey, maybe it's like 10 questions and we just hit like top key things we want people's opinions on. I was happy to take the survey, but maybe not everybody wants to spend 20 minutes doing a survey. So that's just a thought.
I mean,
Yeah.
I sent it to St. Vincent de Paul, but quite frankly, when people are in that level of crisis, they're not sitting down to fill out their food SNAP application, let alone a 50-question survey for the city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's certainly not a 50-question survey, but like, Reagan said,
Yeah.
maybe you just ask 2 or 3 questions, you know, what do you think
Yeah.
about the city, you know, what's missing? What do you need?
Especially the ones where we are divided on.
But anyway,
Where it said we need
anybody
more, we don't
else?
need more. Yeah.
Mhm.
If not, I guess we can adjourn and,
Sure.
we'll get back to, our busy lives.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Night all.
Chris.